What's the win condition for Wolves?
Well, the fact that Wolves have actually picked into this map, I think, is them trying to have a big show of strength internally within the team, because they got slapped around the last time that they played Oregon, which wasn't that long ago by Virtus.pro in this competition just yesterday. So I think it's a big show of strength from them internally, mentally wanting, you know, it doesn't matter whether we lost it, this is one of our favorite maps. Yeah. M80 really don't like it. And Wolves have been known for the longest time to be very comfortable on this map, very comfortable with their attacking win rate on this map. So you want to see Wolves, because they will be starting on the attack, you want to see them coming in strong, putting in a good performance in that first half.
Well, I fully agree, and I have to say also, like, I'm surprised they maybe took them to Oregon. I think that like recency bias was like, you know what, they kind of sucked last time they were here, like you mentioned. We can take them. And this is the thing, I want to see Wolves actually change things around in terms of gameplay, because what they've been doing so far in the second phase of the major clearly hasn't been working out. Whereas for M80, I think they gotta simplify things a little bit, because they've been trying to get fancy with things, and they too have had a very disappointing performance so far this major.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy if I was either of these teams, and more importantly, one of them goes home. This is an elimination match. Do we lose M80? Often projected as one of the strongest teams here at the tournament, called, I believe, by Jacob at one point, one of the tourney favorites, one of the best teams here. Or do we lose Wolves? Neither of these teams have really looked like themselves. And players on both teams have tweeted, oh, we're not playing like ourselves. Well, it's do or die, lads. If you don't play like yourselves here, you can play all the way on the plane back home, whether it's a short trip in NA or it's a longer trip back to Europe.
Man, I mean, you guys saw the chat there. Kino said, but my Monty is bad. Why'd you ban it? And that's the thing, I think, if you're M80, if you're any team up against, if you're Wolves or any team up against M80, maybe leaving Monty open for Kino might be a wise choice. And I hate to grade on the man, but he has had a very subpar Monty performance, given how iconic the operator is for him to play.
Yeah, he didn't agree with you on your take on his Monty play. I doubled down on it. I went back in on it in terms of the way he played it. He actually, you know, made a mistake a couple of times. We saw M80 actually ban the Monty away yesterday, and obviously it's been banned away by Wolves against them today. Yeah. So no Monty in this game whatsoever. I think interestingly from M80, they don't want Clash involved either, so we're very anti-shield today.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Wolves, they are one of the few teams, even back in Vitality days with that org, they would, on the rare occasion, bring out a Clash every now and again on like maps like Villa, maps like Theme Park, on maps like Basement Oregon, and it is just very, I mean, we know it, Jack. When you play ranked, a small, you know, tier 3 tourney, Gold 4, etc., Clash on that basement bomb side is so anti-fun to play against.
Yeah, I think especially when, you know, both of these teams are obviously having trouble. That's why they're in this position. That's why they're facing an elimination game. And Clash presents a problem for a lot of teams where it's very hard to actually deal with a very competent Clash player and a team that can play well around the Clash. So even if it's just a comfort ban, just to allow you to get on the board when you get to that attacking half for M80, I do like it.
So kind of like we want like momentum here from Wolves, like come out firing, get some opening kills, get feeling good in the server, and just show some signs of confidence. When you're attacking Basement Oregon, unless you're going for a blue rush, you can't really go all that quickly. Like you're forced to go through the roam clear, clear out the top floor, clear the first floor, open up the hatches, and then hit the side about 2.5 minutes later. But the thing is, M80, they're playing a proactive defense right now. They have Roman presence on first floor, and they even have Iconic starting up top floor, but someone else now is taking that position instead, and Diaz, I believe, so they're actively denying the entries of Wolves.
All right, first bomb site down below, and nothing really outside the norm when it comes to the way that these teams will defend the site. Looking at operator loadouts as well, and nothing is all that odd, though I am a little perplexed by a lack of a smoke, especially since Elbow is still opened up. I wonder if they'll rotate somebody on over there to hold it. Other than Kino, who's being quite aggressive towards blue. So far, no real action outside of that, though. Kino was baiting for early picks, got droned out very quickly by Wolves. They did not decide to pursue it.
I would say this is pretty fast map control in terms of Wolves for taking it. They've got control of meeting, they've got control of basically the whole map. I think the way that this site, when it's played, it's one of the best defensive sites in the game. Yeah. It linchpins around the execution. When you can drop and take some kind of control, will that be around Pillar, will it be around Tower Stairs, T1? Can you flash, drop all at the same time? Basically 3, 2, 1, go. Reloading. That's the big win condition on this site.
Yeah, and usually Wolves, they're very excellent at doing that 3, 2, 1, go style of execute, but this event, they have not really succeeded in those areas. So starting things off hot, forcing that play style can be hard for them. And we see Kino playing an offensive angle set up blue. It's just furthering, locking Wolves out. They have no real foothold besides the roam clear itself. They got a brute force down the hatch or in through blue double door at some point in this round.
It looked like they wanted an engagement over towards blue again. There's been some reluctance on Wolves to take that fight as a set of logic bombs go off and smoke's tossed out from Bibu 2 towards the front of Laundry. Things will go fast and furious, but it's all M80 at the moment as Mowgli picks up the lone kill for Wolves. Spoit outdueled by Pillar. It's Deadshot and Mowgli being rebuffed every step of the way. Deadshot is good enough for 1 kill, but it's all up to Mowgli, who gets slaughtered as he walks through elbow, and the first round is relatively easy for M80.
I think the big problem there for Wolves genuinely was that they brought a lot of operators that enabled the roam clear. They got quick map control, they used the Twitch, they used the Brava, they used the Dokkaebi to take that map control. The problem is when you get to the point of executing onto the hatch dropper, and when you get to the point of executing onto blue and onto Freezer, you haven't got any kind of cheese operator. There's no Ying in that lineup. There's no Capital, no Grim. We've seen teams use Monty, anything that you can to facilitate that drop, to facilitate those engagements and try and cheese a 1. Wolves had absolutely none of that. So their operator lineup made sense for the early round, but not for the late round.
I don't like the fact that you say cheese operators because I don't feel like you're cheesing around by bringing utility to deal with the initial.
Is that because you're a Monty main?
It wasn't about the Monty alone, but
We've been referring to them as nuisance operators.
Nuisance
because
operators,
it
okay.
sounds,
Crotch operators?
it sounds nice.
Oh, okay.
It sounds nice.
I like to say, like, when you said that the Ying, the Capital, the Grim, that kind of stuff, I say like execute enablers, rather, I would say, because they enable the execute.
Initiators?
Initiators also a good one, yeah. We have kind of been loosely tossing terms
That's a
around.
very familiar word.
Yeah.
I've heard that one.
A little bit close, that one.
Then you've got your more frag operators. We call those duelists. Coming up with names now, boys.
On the fly.
But I also think when you attack the bombs like the basement, I think the opening kill is oh so important because it turns into like, okay, if the defenders get the opening kill, you have 5 guns basically in one direction against less opponents. So you really want to play for early picks here. And for basement, it's very difficult because unless the defenders are roaming, you don't have any way to like truly get that besides like a grenade. It normally comes down to a 5v5. Not about to change. They go to this kid's bomb site territory, or secondary bomb site rather, and you can look for picks. Fight and trophy, fight attic, etc. Go for vertical play, and maybe Wolves can fight their way into this round with that opening kill.
Let's come back to these operator bans for a second. I mean, we've seen Dokkaebi's presence so far through both rounds, but there's been no Ying, which might change when M80 gets on the board, but is this something that for Wolves could be a more optimal pick?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it usually enables basically a free kill whenever you can get a player flash. And as you can see, no Ying being played. The defenders are not feeling like they're having to play Warden whatsoever. And I think, interestingly, just to add on to the operator bans, because it's a Clash ban, because it's a Clade ban, Azami's open, Fenrir is open, Valkyrie's open, Mira's open. Like, all of these great operators, Solace, they're all open for the defense. So Oregon's already defender-sided, but I would expect it to be even more defender-sided because of that.
I can only agree with you. And I mean, it's a trade here in the second round, so no clear favorites just so far, but map control, M80 reinforcing of that secondary attic wall, kind of bunkering up now, saying we want as little avenues for the attackers into the building as possible, and it's forcing rotation from Wolves. No longer that big tower focus, there's going to be a dining kitchen-oriented push, but without the buck. So with the Callons is kind of removed from action here. They got to walk up a staircase, fish for a kill with, I was going to say Ina grenades, but Ina doesn't have grenades any longer. So that's not going to happen.
And there's an engagement down below as Iconic attempting to get back towards security. He's outdueled by Deadshot. Shinka dies at the hands of Diaz. These teams right now both chasing that same numbers advantage, but it's eluding both of them as there are trades aplenty. Kino, who'd done some damage to Mowgli earlier, will get engaged yet again as Deadshot posts up on top of White Stairs, narrowly missing out on the Azami and pulling back at the wrong moment. Nearsighted for but a second as Gomez and P4 pick up a kill apiece. Again, we are at these even numbers with 30 seconds remaining. Kino and Deadshot chasing each other, but it's Diaz to die. And down goes Kino as well. Wolves will answer back with a win on the top floor.
Where are the crossfires there, Jack? On defense, right? Who's holding top right entry? Nobody seemingly from M80, so they just walk on in.
Yeah, it was absolutely strange. I think that's the thing as well, is Wolves' approach there was this complete split take. There was one bottom white, there was one big window, one coming in from trophy. It's all very solo, it's very split, and it's designed that if you're not being held, if you can create pressure and make somebody look elsewhere, somebody will get a free entry and walk in and shoot somebody in the back. That's exactly what Mowgli managed to do. Yeah, criminal a little bit from M80 to let that go there, because as we alluded to, Wolves have brought no nades. They couldn't move Gomez out of position. They couldn't really navigate anybody out of position anywhere. All M80 had to do was hold the crossfires on the free entry points, on the trophy door, top white door, and the big window, and they didn't.
No, they didn't. And this is kind of the kind of things that we see, what we have seen from M80 and Wolves, that they're 0-2 for a reason. Small mistakes that are happening that, you know, these players at this level of play, Jaeger dying from big window angle exposed as well, how does that occur, you know? And it's just these small mistakes that has a massive impact on the round further in that they sway the outcome of that round.
Before insertion.
I like the fact that maybe they go, you know what, we'll just go to a different bomb site. It's not a big deal. Change up a little bit here, tertiary, small tower hold, a classic if you're back in Europe.
When we watched BDS play this map earlier, it was all of the primary sites was won by the defense, and it was the tertiary sites that was not won at all by any of the defense at all. So it's curious for me that M80 have just gone so strong straight away to kitchen dining, given the prominence of the two primary sites on this map.
Things that I noticed in the previous round, again, was that as the late round went on, it was a lack of information from M80 as they looked to be running after kills with limited idea of where they were. The only thing I noticed from an intel perspective was that bulletproof camera being brought. M80's only going to bring one yet again, and you folks both hit on it in the previous round. Valkyrie is unbanned. She can be played on every single bomb site in every single round quite comfortably without having to change up the setup and the lineup you bring. Same with Ying, of course, but M80's opting to go with something completely different. Mowgli walks in with all the confidence in the world as that EE1D goes, but this is the world of M80 at the moment. As Spoit gets the first pick, Gomez immediately follows up, and with a minute off the clock, Wolves have bared their teeth, but ultimately been bested in combat.
Where's the follow-up though? I mean, this time it's just Tornigo solo. He sprints past the corner, he dies as well, and no one's nearby. They're outside the building, outside the window, outside the small tower.
And Spoit has case control as well at the bottom of white. Pings it as he's got follow-up with the smoke, an operator that Kino knows quite well. It was absent from previous rounds. Now, what do you do with Wolves? What do you do? You've got one EE1D remaining and one Twitch drone. You got two smokes, but ultimately utility has evaporated for Wolves.
I mean, I know what you do here if you're Wolves. You lose the round. It's that simple. If you run face first in the building, solo, last two guys in the spawn, there's miscommunication somewhere.
Yeah, normally we talk about problem solving in the fact that you might have a utility set up, shields, ADS, multiple things to burn and clear. At this point, Wolves only had people, and they just ran into them. And even then, they didn't do it together, so it's absolutely no surprise to see this.
Shinka gets baited in by a Legion mine. He's down for the count, attempted to pull it out, but won't be able to do too much. Now it's Bibu, destroyed from main door as Kino unsheathes the SMG-11, gives M80 a flawless round on Kitchen. That tertiary bomb site being won by the defenders, and again, flawlessly.
Stats can be deceiving sometimes, because like, on paper it's like, why would they ever? And it's like, I don't know, right? But then if you do that and your opponent just runs it down, it's like, it works.
I actually really like it when teams go through the full rotation, regardless of the result. I always thought this, you know, when I was in teams, is we don't hang about on the bomb site. We don't try and micro-correct. We leave that for a couple of rounds' time. And I do like it, and I think the better teams have it as a show of strength. Is like, unless it's just such an obvious thing that they can change, if it's a very small thing, leave it for the next time and we'll win it the next time. Get through your full rotation as planned, as if you'd won all of them. And I think it's a little mentality thing, so I do like that from M80, and they're looking very, very comfortable so far.
I mean, but it's not that hard to be comfortable, and all you're doing is you pick your 5 starting positions, you sit there for a bit, and then their kills, they come to you. You know, M80 did look great that round. Yeah, they did. No, Wolves, they look terrible. All right, sorry.
I was just thinking about Wolves and you know, they're operators that enable the team to try and find and isolate these fights. They ran a line on the last round, ineffective by Shinka. This time we're seeing a Grim and a Blitz, and I think both of those operators can cause that chaos and that drama that we lacked the last time that Wolves attacked onto the basement.
I think we're avoiding the word nuisance again, and it really hurts.
Nuisance? I will stick with nuisance if you want me to.
I like chaos. I think chaos is great. Now, in the previous take on this bomb site, one of the big struggles that we saw from Wolves was this blue hold, right? There was the Fenrir playing in this position. There was a lot of time wasted, drones thrown, and there was really no way to deal with it. Now you've got a different operator to deal with. You've got an Ella with that shotgun at close range at the front of blue, but Wolves have also made a change as well. They're bringing the Blitz, and Bibu is going to hope for his very first kill. Hard-pressed to think of an operator better designed to tackle the obstacles that are presented in blue than a shield running you down in Blitz.
Yeah, and I mean, the idea was that they wanted to go to blue, clear out the shield first, then revisit that position later with the blitz, but they've yet to do the shield just now. Thing is, they're one nade in pocket. If this nade doesn't hit, the shield stays alive. That's going to make the blue push a lot more difficult later on the round, so it's very important here that the nade does get the shield, but the Midas is there, doesn't get it? No. So now all of a sudden, you're in the position, if you're Wolves, you have no, soft breach, you can't clear up that shield, and you might just need to simply not go for blue any longer. So you're forced to adapt.
I feel like the Ella shotgun was a really good blitz, a really good read into the blitz, and read into the adaptation. It's like, they want to play a blitz, that would have been, M80 theorizing. If we were adapting, what would we do? Right, we would run the blitz. Okay, Ella shotgun, and we will mow this blitz down. As it is, the one eye of the shield, it's been a problem that Wolves haven't been able to solve, so we're not potentially not going to see that interaction. But from M80, I love that read.
I agree, but the thing is, Shinka has 3 flashbangs left.
Yeah.
So they did have the option to clear.
It's very simple, flash.
It is like, oh, buddy, they said, well, my this clear, and your idea is clear. No, let's just gamble it.
It's also going to get Spoit flushed out of his position on Pillar as looks like P4 is itching for an engagement. 4 smokes on the side of Wolves as well, but M80's got the answer, and Spoit on the Warden. Down goes the shield. Bibu still without a kill. It's Gomez to fire away, but his vision's obscured at that point. Right now, bogged down in Freezer. Shinka's found himself over by Laundry, slaughtered by Gomez. Mowgli over by Pillar, looking for the Ella. Damage being done by Wolves, and now it's Kino to fall too. Wolves with the advantage. Just over 30 seconds remaining, and an Adrenal Surge, giving Deadshot and P4 a little bit more staying power. M80 will swing, and not to their advantage. Iconic on the smoke right now, finds himself trapped inside a cover. To get out, he's got some artillery. He can certainly fight his way out, but he reloads, exposed to the bottom of Laundry stairs. P4 gives Wolves the round.
The way that I look at Siege, and I don't know if everybody looks at Siege this way, but I look at Siege, was the round strategically won, and was the round actually won?
Yeah.
M80 have strategically won 4 rounds here, but it's 2-2 on the scoreline. The late round from Wolves in just being able to find a way. They've not strategically won that round. They've failed to deal with a shield. They had to just force a blitz through Laundry. Not the plan they wanted at all, but they've come away with the round win again from P4 and Mowgli in that late round. So it's showing a little bit of heart. It's showing a little bit of fight, even if they're not going to be entirely happy with their strategic performance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's all good and well because if you're Wolves, like you're tied up 2-2 now and things are looking better. But if you don't find the opening, if you don't find a way to get back to this game strategically, you can only win these kinds of rounds so many times. It's 3 versus 5 on attack. Your blitz is dead. Shinka out in the Hibana. They had the purple shield still up. And M80, they might have gotten a bit too cocky. They were swinging out aggressively when they had the sight, they had the lockout, they had the mirror windows, they had the deployable shield. They didn't really need to go and do any proactive plays. Just sit back.
And I think you're seeing why this is a non-preferred map for M80.
Yeah.
In terms of the fact that they are getting most of the things right, but the tiny little things that are winning or losing them rounds, they could and should be 4-0 up here.
Gentlemen. Spoit went for a spawn peek, and down goes Mowgli. No more Adrenal Surges, and you cannot get yourself back up, barely out of spawn, and already potentially disastrous start to the round.
Swapping mags!
That's a tilter.
That's what you see in there, is that Spoit against, as he called it, a general pro.
Oh!
And that's where he gets it.
Mowgli can't feel the starters, but he can feel the headshot coming his way. And that's gonna put Wolves into a position where they lose their soft breach again. No grenades, no self-destruction, just a block for the force of the walls itself, and they have to again be like, okay, we might be able to get what we want strategically, but we gotta find a way. It's almost like the good old way that BDS played on Clubhouse. Couldn't get the main wall opened up, just walk in garage and get 5 kills. They gotta do something silly here. Just sure they get the walls open, but they don't have any uses to force player positions out of.
I'm really curious as to why DS actually didn't impact trick that ace breach there, because it is going to be fully open.
Yeah.
As much as Wolves aren't pushing it, I'm curious what he thought that the impacts might be worth saving for, maybe an Osa, in terms of just trying to read and save them. Because obviously, if you can keep that breach closed, you can stop that as a plant position. And you're seeing the ace just open it up. It does get impact tricks there, but it's already open, so it's kind of, it feels a little bit futile.
Maybe a bit late as Iconic guns down P4. One of those nuisance operators as Deadshot dies as well. Shinka the only kill so far for Wolves. We're half the round in, and I guess with this meeting bomb site, Wolves have decided, let's get in and hit it quite hard. Spoit dies as well from a similar position as now BBOO still searching for his first kill, won't get it. Gomez and Diaz doubling up in very quick succession, and that's another round for M80. No team has won back-to-back rounds so far.
It's true. And if you're BBOO right now, you must be feeling the individual performance pressure because what was he, 1-14 in phase 2 so far before this game started? And it's very hard to analyze like what can cause a player to struggle in that way, right? But if you're the captain and stuff, you might need some help from other veterans, which in this roster, no longer here, right? Rise departed after SI.
I say this with a lot of love, but that gunfight that he just had when he walked into flag, onto the player into kitchen, it looked like a player that was devoid of confidence, that knows he's only had one kill across what? At this point in the last 2.5 maps that he's played. Yeah, I think it's a little bit rough from his personal performance, but you know, I actually spoke to him quickly pre-match when we was waiting to do the desk of the last match. Very confident, very jovial, you know, just business as usual. So he has been around since, you know, day one. He won't let that get to him, but I think in those little micro, you know, the fight at the end there, he's not full of confidence thinking, I'm going to make the play.
Now, gentlemen, I'm obviously no analyst here.
5 seconds.
Neither matters. Take the play.
But you don't got to be a world champion, and you don't got to be an award-winning analyst to say that BBOO shaves his head and he drops 0 kills. Obviously, he has been zapped of all of his power, very similar to the Nintendo favorite Donkey Kong, who, when he shaves his head, becomes weak and ineffective. BBOO right now suffering the shaved Donkey Kong strap, as we will call it. And simply, he will get better the faster his hair grows out, which for this match might not be very good.
I was gonna say, I mean, if that's the case, he's doomed for this tournament. I mean, he's going less and less hair, which means weaker and weaker, when he should be growing it back. And if it really is that simple, I have no future in any professional setting because I am losing my hair every day.
You're fighting a different fight, my friend.
I am. And I ain't winning.
I gotta say, I didn't hate BBOO's landing strip on the top of his head.
I thought it was cool.
I hated it.
The Chuck Liddell, as I think Lynx referred to it as. And, well, thank goodness if you're Wolves that you've got a supporting cast that can hit their shots. This very final defense from M80 does not start out in their favor. Every single time M80 has gone to this bomb site, Kino has tempted fate on that blue doorway, and finally it comes to bite him as Mowgli gets the first pick.
I'm really liking that initiative from Mowgli, because again, if you look at the lineup that they brought, Wolves are not bringing any operators that are nuisance in the late round. They're not bringing any of them. So the fact that they've got in and they've managed to get an entry kill, they can play the numbers game, and that can be the nuisance for M80.
Exactly that. You gotta play the numbers and the advantage. And now it's like, M80, they have a choice here. Do they swing out unnecessarily, try and even back this man count to a 4-4? Or do they say, guys, we got this, it's fine. We expect Wolves to make a mistake along the path somewhere, and then we get the numbers back anyway? Because that's a tough position that you're in. Wolves now just gotta sit back, breach the hatches, figure out, okay, where's the side the weakest? And you put as many guns as possible either in that specific direction, or you spread yourselves out thin because you know you have, again, one man up.
All adrenal surges used from Mowgli at this point, likely because he'd suffered such extensive damage in that first fight against Kino. That won't be very helpful when the execute rolls around. Kino's position over towards blue was backed up by Spoit on the Warden last time. This time, same thing. And Spoit now tucked away in a spot affectionately referred to as Harry Potter beneath the stairs as he waits for one of the Wolves to come down from above. There goes a smoke from BBOO. Maybe close off some of the line of sight over towards blue. Spoit with 2 big kills. Iconic cannot collect as Spoit dies to a nade from Deadshot. And now it's tons of gas being breathed in from Wolves. P4, BBOO, and Shinka now stacked up in similar spots as Shinka wants to creep in.
A bomb has been located.
Only 20 seconds left. Searching for a kill, but M80's not going to give it up. Not so easily. P4 is the cross held now. BBOO taken out. No kill in this half as it's a wraparound, but there's a kill coming in from P4 as Gomez gets 2. Gomez gets the final 3, and the streak finally happens. M80 wins rounds back-to-back, and the first half is theirs 4-2.
And you kind of said you saw BBOO on flag in the previous round saying confidence was missing, right?
Yeah.
BBOO could have played all the way back outside blue with the Twitch DMR or whatever, holding a small angle. He pushed into elbow and just lost the gunfight. And guess what? You cannot cover 2 or 3 different angles as a single person in that plant position.
Spoit actually made a really important play there. You're going to see it in the replay. He got the double kill and was traded out by a name. We talked about the nuisance to M80 being that man advantage. Spoit equaled it, made it a 3v3. Because as defense, if you're in a 3v3 and time is low, you've got the man advantage now because the attack has to plan. And as soon as the attack has to plan, 2 players covering against 3 players trying to push that plan, there's always going to be a gap for the defenders. That's exactly what Gomez found, because as soon as he got that kill, he could then swing around and get the kill onto the planter. So Spoit started that off with a really big individual solo play. And again, that's playing a very tricky position because you've got to decide where you want to be. Do you want to be tucked by the pillar? Do you want to be in Harry Potter? Or do you want to be in Shaiko? Spoit's played the right position there, got the double kill, and set that round up so his team had a chance of winning it, which they duly did.
The crazy thing is that Deadshot actually tossed out a grenade on that exact player position, but was kind of, they mistimed it by like 2 seconds. Had they waited 2 seconds, they would have popped. Spot either runs away, gets shot, or he dies the grenade. Instead, they tossed the grenade kind of semi-cooked. They walk down the staircase, they walk in blue, but Spoit gets both kills before the grenade pops. So small mistiming, but a great opportunity seized by Spoit, like you mentioned. And again, equalizing those numbers, so important.
Do you know how, you brought an analyst onto the broadcast? I had to quote a couple of stats.
Okay.
I was hoping Wolves won that round because over the last 9 months that Wolves have played Oregon, they've had a dead 50% attack win rate.
Okay.
And they would have had it had they won the round, but no, it's gone a little bit imbalanced now.
Small change up here on both sides of the equation. M80 bringing a Ying, an operator we talked about, who escaped the ban phase. On the side of Wolves, an Oryx shows up, a Soulless shows up, a Capkin also on the board. This is a laundry supply defense, and you see how extensive this roam is from Wolves upstairs. Kino gets in, dies Bibu, and Spoit goes down now, so the advantage for Wolves goes back, but P4 is being chased over towards laundry. Out go the Candelas, and P4 will have to swing for the fences, but Kino's good enough for a second. A 3v3 with the top 4 now seemingly in control for M80 as they'll go to work with half the round to go.
How do you like the scenario, Jack? You're a 3v3 on a basement attack, whereas like usually we go, that's defender favorite, right?
Yep.
But 2 of your 3 attackers, Grim and Ying, those nuisance operators, they really break the bombs if they want to, but you don't have a hard breach. Actually, I lied. You have a hard breach canister.
And then just to add on to that as well, if you look at the defender lineup, there's no C4s, there's no defenders that you're thinking, it's okay, we can let them use that Ying to drop and we can then play for the retake. You kind of got to fight it, and I think that's why you're seeing Deadshot take such an advanced position. Kind of curious as to why he wanted to be on the Oryx, because normally when you see the basement, when you see the basement defended, it's normally a lot of operators that facilitate. You're seeing your Warden, you're seeing your Jaeger, your Wildman. Basically anything that stops the things like the Ying, the Capital, the utility in the title. So interesting operator lineup, and it's a very interesting situation.
Might just hit it now. As Kino's got the Candela primed and ready, it'll get opened up, and there's one Candela to go over, but Kino looks the wrong way. Iconic for the follow-up, but that might be some friendly fire with those Candelas. Diaz eliminating Deadshot. Mobley attempting a double. He can't do it, but Shinka might be able to. Tears through 2 players of M80, and now it's Shinka and Diaz in a 1v1. With Diaz taking some damage, Shinka just needs to wait with 30 seconds left. At opposite ends of the world at this point. Diaz unleashing the bees. The final canister will go out. And it now pushes Shinka into a position, but Diaz will attempt the fake out. Around the corner he goes. Back turned from Shinka, but Diaz reads into it so well. 3 in a row from M80, and they win their very first attack.
What a back and forth, I gotta say.
What a round that was. Individually there, Diaz has played that beautifully, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
So he sent the Grim bees down highway. So the Wolves player could not be playing close to the highway door. So he knows that he's either in the closet or close to the closet rotate. He then gave him the footwork. And everybody knows that plays down there in those 1v1 situations. The drone hole creates a sound kind of propagation that's a bit of an issue. Give him the footwork, and you know he's got to be at the rotate. He has to swing at some point. Gets him. Really well played by Diaz.
I do agree, but at the same time, defending side, they had a bulletproof camera up that saw the rotate. And I was like, oh, you have the intel. You can actually play this in so many ways. You can run back towards laundry. You can try and, get past the cross towards the hallway, or swing the rotate. And he goes with the immediate wide swing, but it's like that's exactly the angle that your opponent is holding on you, and you kind of know because the camera sees that. So puzzling 1v1 to end it off, I feel like.
You dominated map, bro. This is all fucking map. Listen, no fear, bro. No fear. is their map. They're back to Mr. Warrior map.
One thing that I discussed before we got into this matchup with some of the other talent was Wolves have not played their game. Neither has M80. We talked about this early on, but with the way that Wolves have been playing in their best of ones, my speculation was if Wolves don't show up for their own map, it'll be a very tense slugfest. M80 prevails, probably in overtime by a score of 8-6. And then breaks the back of Wolves. We go to map number 2, M80's map. We didn't know the maps ahead of time, and M80 ends up winning it quite handily. That's where Wolves seems to be trending at this moment. How do they turn it around?
Yeah, how do you turn that around? I mean,
Go on.
I was gonna say, last round we saw them kind of pick just like more free roaming operators like the Oryx, the Capcan, the Chin-Chan, say free roam boys, get good guns, get comfortable, and kind of like get in the face of Nate, like stop them from just like achieving what they want to achieve, but it doesn't work out. So now they might be forced back to more like neutral-oriented siege, right? We get the Warden, we get the Assam, we get the Jaeger, almost Wolves are defanged immediately on side swap.
There's a saying that I used to use a lot, which is test the execute.
Okay.
At that point, that we saw the previous round, the execute kind of happened as a 3v3, and it was an absolute mess. I actually want to see Wolves play the round as it should be played, because Oregon is defender-sided. Play the laundry supply as a turtle. Play the kids' dorms as kind of a little bit of an extension, but get back to site. Play those crossfires. Play those powerful operators that you've got at your disposal on the defense, and actually test how good M80's execute is, because I think you would find, again, we've seen them make some basic mistakes in crossfires. It's probably the same on the attack, so I think that's what Laloon will have been talking about in the timeout.
But that's not really what's happening. They're still challenging anywhere they can, and again, because they're playing some free operators like the Capcan, they're allowed to, and it pays off this time. It's spoiled off the board, it's ace gone as well, but I mean, they're smart. They bring a second hard breach because having that backup plan, that contingency, like, oh, if somebody dies, we can still achieve our breaching.
Both teams suffering from the defenders getting first blood, and every single first blood, with the exception of Wolves in round number 6, has been achieved by the defenders, or there's been a trade. So the fact that these teams are having such difficulty getting in the map, droning things out, and both of the teams on defense are so interested on taking those early engagements, means you need to be a bit more cautious with how you approach the map, so you don't suffer at the hands of an aggressive Wolves, as they're going to be the ones riding out defense for the remainder of regulation.
No Finka either, so the health that you lose, the health that you have, you're up against Capcan this time. No traps popped just yet, and M80 pretty much locked out here, Jack. I mean, they're repelling outside the building, they're droning, etc., and no one's even inside the house as of yet.
I'm curious as to where the execute's going to come from. I think it's going to have to be double window, white stairs, and then 2 through master and trophy. But even then, Wolves have got the 5v4, as we're going to see hard breach coming in now. I think they're going to have to try and create some kind of pressure. Trap kills. Oh, that's also stopped the breaching, I think. I think it's also killed the Havana pellets. Oh, no.
I think it had. Yep. Oh my god, that's actually the bigger damage.
A disastrous fate that's befallen M80, but if they're anything, they're accurate with their guns. Gomez is the gridlock making a debut, but will be wary of too many angles. Shinka the final kill. The timeout from Wolves prevents M80 from moving to match point on Wolves' map. This was a desperately needed round for the European squad.
I mean, that's also with 2 Capcan attempts going off. One with the kill, one with almost the kill as well.
Maybe play some more Capcan.
Yeah.
3 rounds in a row right now as there's a Capcan being hovered by P4. Defenders cannot choose operators during the prep phase the same way that attackers can. And as the timer hits 0, it will be 3 for 3. With Capcan showing up on defense. Again, just kind of lending some credibility to the fact that both teams on attack not paying respects to the way that these defenders are holding the map. If you're not droning out your opponents, if you're not droning out doorways with plenty of time, frankly, you're going to get punished for it.
You should also expect some of that to be happening, right? If you see a Capcan on the board, you can expect the Capcan trap on the closet doors. It's always there because you know you gotta walk in, hold the trophy angle, and step to your left and hope that there's nothing on the door. There's always a Capcan there every single time.
That was 3 traps, by the way. 3 traps.
Stop the breach and everything. That's like, that's worse than worst case scenario.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely.
It's your diffuser carrier, the ball doesn't get opened up, and Hibana dies. I mean, what a mess.
People got a kill, by the way, amidst the frenzy.
Let's go, people. He's on the board. Now, Jake, you said test the execute. You might be thinking, there is no way this is a basement defense.
Yeah.
But you'd be wrong. 5 people roaming right now, 4 actually. 4 people roaming, top floor, first floor, etc. Looking to deny entries, and normally I wouldn't be against this because I like when you challenge it. It's just that I feel that Wolves will not be able to find that middle line. That's okay, we've done enough, now it's time to fall back.
It's the same lineup they brought the very first defense as well. Every player on the same set of operators. So what do you change up to ensure you don't get isolated and picked off the way that M80 did it?
I mean, you gotta have your system, or you gotta have your stop position for people like top floor, hatch opened up, you gotta drop down. And as long as you have like a link, so that when Bibo drops, someone can help him get to the next level, because meeting hatch is open, that's your end goal, that's your way back to the bomb side. So you need to escort the layers. So Bibo's the first man in line, he drops, he joins that shot, they fall back together. P4's a lone small tower though.
Mowgli gets lead-off pick yet again. Spoid and Kino removed as the double T5s worked their magic. Iconic has also been downed. As this is not going well for M80. Diaz, the only person left with a pulse. A minute 40 still on the clock, though Iconic is retrievable. But if you're Diaz, you have to be wary of where Wolves may be. They could simply bait out your recovery as he gets to Iconic in time.
Did he fall off the roof?
I honestly
think
not
he fell
sure.
off the roof.
He must have, because like, if somebody injured him, they would have confirmed the kill, right? Surely.
That's a little bit, I think what M80 tried to do there was try and find the gap, because obviously there's a big entry in terms of the roaming. Spoid tried it. He tried jumping in that green window on the Dokkaebi call, and it was kind of 3-2-1 mini execute to get somebody through the gap and into sight. It's not played out. I think Mowgli had a very good read into that's where Spoid would come from. Obviously got the entry kill.
I also like the fact that the second they got those kills, 4 members fight to side, and it's just 1 member roaming right now. It's P4.
P4 was getting their attention over towards White. Both players from M80 bogged down, trying to figure out where he may be. Iconic going down Freezer as Diaz watches from above. They're still wasting a lot of time. Iconic meets his fate at the hands of Mowgli, and now it's Diaz. Try and stop a flawless round. Wolves have been looking better and better since this time out. They've got some confidence, and honestly, that round, Mowgli showed up huge. 2 in a row from Wolves. They're 1 round away from tying things up on their own map.
And this is typically when Wolves did look their best. That is when Mowgli is doing well. Individually, I mean, Deadshot Mowgli did find the 1 apiece, and then we assume that Iconic fell off the roof. He was having a bit of a laugh there, so maybe that is what happened.
I love the pressure of elimination matches, because we've seen a lot of trash talk over the last, 5 or so days. From Mowgli, that looks like really stressed trash talk. It's like these guys are like, oh my days, like we have to get this right. Even though he's trying to trash talk, there's a little bit of shakiness in that voice just there.
The thing is, if you're trash talking in French and you're up against like a quote-unquote North American team, it's like they're not gonna get much of that.
Yeah, it was the same with Scars in the last game, all Japanese. But you can kind of hear from the tone and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tonality, the body language. I mean, I'm not sure if they can literally see each other exactly, the player positions, but like, I think talking your smack when you're there is important because the mental warfare is always ongoing, right? Interviews before, tweets after the game, etc. And you'd think that, mental side is not a real thing. Who cares about people talking smack on social media? It's like, you care, right? You're a player, you're in it. Some other pro player that you don't like a lot and who's beaten you before, he talks, smack on social media, you can be like, I'm not gonna take that. I want to beat this guy. Smack on social media.
You almost got it.
I almost...
You didn't know Smack started with SH.
I mean, I'm foreign, man. We just mix it together.
You caught yourself. That's
I
all
did
that
catch
matters.
myself.
Defender's still leading the way on these opening picks, and I feel like though we haven't seen the first bloods over the last 2-3 rounds, the way that Wolves are playing, you have to imagine it's a kill through a window, it's a kill through a door. It's not M80 getting in the building and being defeated. It's Wolves running out, or at least taking advantage of an angle from inside. Oregon is not a particularly big map where you're always wary of outside angles like the old Consulate or like Bank or even possibly Clubhouse.
Yeah.
The fact that this keeps befalling M80 is a bit worrisome.
But I feel like they found the way that they need to approach this map right now for Wolves, and that if you just keep on this trend of playing like in your face, extend far out, and keep applying that pressure towards M80, they might just find like the winning formula for them. So I like the fact that they keep repeating this, at least until it fails.
Oh. That's a Magnet catching that air jab, so another will have to go down to prevent the flank on main stairs. M80 favored the gridlock last time around, but I don't think the operator was as optimal as they wanted. So now, instead, they bring the Nomad. A nice Amaru on the board as Gomez slingshots up to tier 3. And with this being a meeting hold, taking Attic and taking that portion of the back of stage is incredibly important. Gomez will be a very pivotal player to do this.
It's all on this site, and both of the meeting sites have an upstairs execute and then a site execute. So it's all on around whether M80 win this upstairs execute. They started off well.
And the attackers get on the board first, though. Kino dies to Mowgli, and Shinka gets one as well. Mowgli, a huge two-piece. As Spoit eliminates Mowgli playing above. They'll need to follow up on it. Spoit has access to the diffuser. Will have to link up with Gomez at some point. Bibu, who broke that goose egg, now looking for more than a single kill. Positioned over by stage. Gomez nearsighted before flashing on down and will now assert himself over towards Attic. Spoit getting the confirm onto Mowgli. Still holding that diffuser. Both players from M80 low on HP, and that is frightening.
They got soft lock control, but they don't have any soft breach, right? The Ram is down, Kino's down, and has secondary soft breach gadget, so they got the mini execute correctly done, arguably. They got what they wanted, but they can't do anything with it now, so they'll just walk down the staircase.
There's a flash, but Gomez almost does it to himself. Nobody from Wolves is really itching for an engagement, and why bother? You've got the clock working in your favor. Spoit to drop the hatch as Gomez is near white stairs. Spoit goes in. Both members of M80 wiped out, and we've got a tie game, as that's 3 in a row from Wolves.
Wolves are actually really competent at defending this map, and I talked earlier about the tertiary sites. Obviously, we just saw it there from them. They're not a team that doesn't like defending that kitchen meeting site. They're now on a 60% round win rate, which for a tertiary site onto Oregon means you're winning it, you know, let's call it 50, 1 in every 2 rounds.
Okay.
That's basically guaranteeing Wolves a 4-2, a 5-1 half most of the time. So in this game, it is 5-5 now, but Wolves are now going to get to go back to kids' dorms and laundry supply.
Yep. And that's the thing about Oregon is you do have 4 playable sites, so you can change things up. The downside of losing in the sense that you're forced into a less than ideal scenario eventually. So this round right here for Wolves is going to be probably the most important, besides of course Matt's point to win it all, because this upstairs hold can be very tricky for most teams. I think a lot of people say like this is like the secondary bomb site, right? I almost feel like it's sometimes the tertiary because it's just undefendable essentially. When attackers they go below, they play 2 sets of grenades, you have nowhere to play, etc. on the bomb site itself. That's usually how it plays out in like a standard game of Oregon, but this has not been a standard game of Oregon.
I mean, that's a good point. We haven't really seen any play underneath with nades. In fact, nades have really not been much of a focus in any part of this matchup. It was referenced in the first half how the lineup from Wolves on attack was absent nades multiple times. That's quite abnormal.
Is that you saying that nades need a buff?
Oh, okay. Hold on a goddamn second here, okay? That is not what I am saying in the slightest.
That's what I heard.
Well, you can hear whatever you'd like.
I mean, pro players play what's best. If they're not playing nades, then nades aren't good enough. That's how I see it.
I mean, there's a reason why Finka and Gridlock's pick rates have skyrocketed, and it's not because they weren't changed, that's for sure.
Touche. Thank God for Isami, though. Mowgli was caught in a bad position. Big tower repel and armory window repel kind of locking him out, but they're still fighting for the ground here, not giving anything up for free. Killing Jones, doing some damage, falling back, but both of them Mowgli suffering a fair bit of damage to their health bars.
I hope the Wolves basically do test the execute, as I was talking about earlier, that they don't really try and commit to many gunfights. Because look at this lineup for the late round. The Azami, the Fenrir, the Valkyrie, the Warden. You know, it's only the Jaeger. If Deadshot runs around and dies, okay, fine. But the other 4 are going to have massive utility into that late round. You've seen Bibu's even saving an F-Knight in the pocket, which again, if one gets destroyed, you know, say one white says, get it back up and running. The attacker's not going to expect that. So, yeah, I hope they test that execute.
Just trying to buy time with the bees now inside a trophy as there's a vault on in from Gomez. Mowgli the first pick yet again. He's been phenomenal finding those openings, but he doesn't have more than a single kill, as Diaz will outduel him with just a little over a minute to go. The Azami at this point has likely got down most of those Keeper barriers. You are a gun and a good gun at that. That's really all you're going to be able to provide value-wise. There's Deadshot to the action. Kino and Diaz dead inside a bedroom as Gomez the top of white stairs, languishing in that position. He's got his hands full, and it's Wolves to win yet another and move to map point.
And that was the important round that they needed. Right now, they go on match point, or map point, sorry, should I say, in the best of 3. But they found a way to break these rounds apart. It's the crossfires, the proactive play, being in your face, and we saw Deadshot make a flank on the armory staircase, and then his teams, they push up with him, so there is a trade happening at worst.
I was worried. I was really worried, because normally, and I know that me and you would get this right in our ranked stacks,
Okay.
Nick, we would have a flank drone. It's somewhere in flag, somewhere outside lobby. How's that happened at pro level where there isn't a flank cam? I saw Spoit constantly flicking the cams because he was the one dead player in that 5v4, and I thought Deadshot's gone way too early here in terms of the flank. As it was, there was no flank cam, or it wasn't being sat on, at least, and he's managed to pull off the flank, get himself into master, get a double kill. Huge in terms of winning that round.
Yeah, but it's a gamble, right? Because when you're not playing solos in defense, you gotta be like, is there a flank cam, or can I just not find it, right?
All I thought was if they know, they can just pause, they can get this man advantage back to a 4v4 and then go from there. As it is, like I say, they had no idea that he was flanking, and he's pulled off a great flank there.
I mean, P4 and Valkyrie for the first rounds here, and they just had the intel, so you know what? They're here, let's go for it, let's full send. And again, it wasn't just Deadshot flanking, he did have a person swinging that trophy door as well. So at least, as I said, they are going to trade 1-for-1, most likely worst case.
Completely different lineup from Wolves now on this laundry supply basement. The 2 previous attempts, they rolled with that Solus, with the Oryx, with the Legion, scattered throughout the map. Instead, now Wolves are running with a very reliable, almost turtle-style lineup. I believe you said you want to see them play it seriously. And here they are.
I think they've kind of realized that M80 have actually struggled in the XQs, in the playing the facets of Oregon, right? And so it's therefore right. Laundry supply is the best site. We don't need to do anything extra. And we've also shown them that roam strategy twice. They've beaten it once. So let's go to our laundry strat. I've often accused Wolves, actually, of having quite a shallow strategy in terms of individual sites and how they want to go about things. Big map pool, they've worked on it, but the individual sites and their strategy have been quite shallow. So it's good to see them changing it up, going from the roam that they've done twice back into that more traditional turtle strat.
I mean, if you're so committed to a roam, Jackal's a great operator to deal with that, but the only player from Wolves who was playing off-site was Deadshot. This Jackal pick is not going to pay off the same way that other operators would, because you're not going to have to pin down those roamers.
And that's the thing, when you change your pace, whether it's defense or attack, you're going to kind of bait your opponent into picking the wrong operators, because M80, they're prepping for the roam in some areas. Sure, they got, they got the Yin, they got the Finger, they got the Grim. They can hit the side later on, but they also have a Jackal who, outside the smoke grenades, doesn't bring any value to the bombs that execute. So I like also saying, you know what, the roam worked the first time, it didn't the second, whatever, but we can change up the pace here, force him to go into the building relatively slowly. But I will say for M80's defense, 1 minute 20 seconds left, all the hatches opened up, they're outside of blue, ready to break that apart as well. They got time enough to work with.
We said it when Spoit was on the Warden in this scenario. Mowgli in this particular scenario is going to be crucial into this round. And the one thing about not bringing Habana on this site, they're not going to be able to open up the walls onto the Shaiko site, so onto the Shaiko area. So that's going to position that Mowgli is going to be able to go between Harry Potter and Shaiko, as we see him there now.
He's going to be your man to watch in this round.
Mowgli's ready for it, over towards blue. His attention is towards back stairs as well as towards blue. The bees will go off. Bibu on the board first, Mowgli in as well. Gomez dropped, an adrenal surge maybe to get him back up. No, that's not the answer. Wolves cleaning house at the moment. The round is still going, but we have for some reason lost the feed, and that's it. P4 gets it. What a confusing end, but ultimately it goes in Wolves' favor, I guess. They win their own map off the backs of 5 rounds in.